up. We're the daily solutions. We're a float institution. We'll fill your head with knowledge till it's thick as pollution. For example, did you know your toilet needs a stainless steel escutcheon? Let there be no confusion. We don't seek retribution. We're just here to give our little piece of floaty contribution. Cause we're citizens living by the float constitution. If you check our solution, you ain't gonna find no delusion. So you better listen up to this rhyming elocution, or we'll float you so hard you'll come out as a capuchin. Podcast.
All right. It's Graham over here.
And this is Ashkahn.
And our question today is, what are your thoughts on introductory packages for floaters? I see a lot of 3 floats for however many dollars around. So,
okay,
yeah,
great.
Well, we don't offer one. Is I guess the first disclaimer to put out there, and we've never had a 3 float intro package ourselves. So
yeah, I'd say
take anything we say with that in mind.
I'd say the most popular things I see out there is people will often do a 3 float intro pack, and I also see a lot of the first float is cheaper if it's your first time coming in. Like
almost like a 1 float intro pack.
Yeah, I guess like a 1 float intro pack.
I guess, and then pack is superfluous there, so yeah.
And these are both usually for first-time customers and stuff like that. And these are very common pricing strategies you see throughout the float industry.
Yeah, and often it's a pretty decent discount, like even down to that range of kind of like the pay for the price of 2 and get the
3
third
for the
one
price
free.
of 2 is pretty typical of like
whether or not
the
they
amount
phrase
of
it like
discount
that
they're giving.
And the goal too is the kind of psychology there, I think, is often someone comes in to float, they paid full price, and then the center can make a pitch to upgrade to that 3-pack. And since they've already paid full price for 1 float, if it is in that 3 for 2 kind of category, they're just paying the cost of 1 float to get 2 more floats after that. So it almost, even though it's not quite that steep discount, it feels like it's half off.
So I guess I also want to say, in addition to us never having run anything like that, I also don't know of a lot of other centers that do have those deals that have started without them. So I also don't think other people have. I mean, everyone's kind of seeing just their side of offering it or not offering it or something like that. So it'd be interesting if there was a center out there that went for like years without offering a thing like that and then started offering it to actually
years is
compare their
interesting.
data.
I know a couple centers who added it in, like 6 months or 9 months or a year into doing stuff, but I can't think of any that I've talked to personally who went for a really long time with that one.
So yeah, like these, it'd be cool to maybe get a few float centers and actually like dig through the information.
It'd be cool to actually have answers.
It'd be cool to actually have answers.
Yeah,
So, short of
nice.
that, we're just gonna have opinions. So
and we have a lot of opinions. So
plenty of opinions.
Yeah, that's good. At least we have some podcast content.
So here are my opinions. Here's usually what I hear is the reasoning for offering either one of these things, either the 3 float intro pack or the cheaper float. And it's mostly to do, I find, or mostly people are using the understanding of kind of people's behavior with float tanks rather than just trying to come up with a great deal or pitch them on like an awesome discount or something like that. Usually, I mean, the intro one for a single float is a lot more obvious. Like, I think people just want like to lower the barrier of someone trying floating in the first place and hoping that once they try it, it will be a lot less of a strange, mysterious concept to them, and they'll realize how much they like it, and they'll want to come back. Mm-hmm. And I think the 3 float thing is along a very similar vein. There's a lot of people out there who will tell you that it takes 3 floats to really get it.
Or some undetermined amount of floats. Like some people will get it after number 1, but at least if everyone who came in were floating 3 times, a much higher percentage of those people would eventually kind of figure out what's going on and relax inside the tank and hopefully have a little more profound experience.
So yeah, almost more than the hope that you're going to be able to like upsell someone into a nice package. I find that it's the hope that will encourage someone who maybe would have floated once, not really quite gotten into the zone and maybe never come back. It might encourage that person to try it a second and a third time, and hopefully over the course of those 3 floats get to a spot where they really have that great float experience and decide to continue coming back over and over and over again. So it's kind of just like a method of helping deal with the fact that first floats are not always the best floats, or can sometimes be kind of, just getting used to the environment or slightly difficult for people to totally let go and relax and stuff like that. And I think there's a logic to that for sure. And if you are doing, that's the reason why you have like a 3 float intro pack, like I think you should probably set out a few other rules to make sure that Like sometimes I'll see people let people share them, which to me is like almost against the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. Like if you can buy a 3-float intro pack and that person can take those 3 floats and share them with their friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's still, I mean, yeah, I guess it just depends on what your intention is
Yeah.
going into it. You know, like just getting more people in the tanks is obviously also a huge goal. So I guess, yeah, although those two accomplish different things, I also don't think there's like anything inherently wrong in allowing sharing of an intro pack.
Yeah, but just make sure you're doing like if what your goal is to get people to like have that quote unquote real float experience, like make sure you're not compromising that by changing, allowing different things and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
So you got to kind of be very conscious of what you're doing with these discounts, or at least what behavior you're trying to encourage to kind of accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, for sure. And it's another reason why it's dangerous to just look around at what everyone else is doing in the industry, or even to take our advice, without thinking about your unique situation. Just because if you're taking some program from another center, chances are, an intro pack for other centers are a part of their overall kind of offering ecosystem, and it relates to how much they're charging for full price, and it relates to how much their memberships are and any other packages. And taking just one part of a pricing or general marketing procedure out of context will not likely yield the same results in your center.
And try to pay attention to the results too. If you're offering like a 3-float intro pack or something like that, like look into how many people come and float a 4th time. Like that's probably a really important number for you. Like how many people make that jump from 3 to 4 floats. Like that's something that you should be kind of keeping track of. And ultimately, like that's the one thing that can be the downside of some of these discounts. And one of the reasons that I think we've never done it is just that when you offer someone like a cheaper 1st float or a cheap 3-float intro pack, when it's something they just get at the beginning like that, you've all of a sudden at the end of that discount, that 1st float or the 3 floats they use, now you've created like an especially high pain point. Now they have to go over kind of a bigger hump to get from 3 floats to 4 floats, or to ever come back a second time if you're offering like a significantly cheaper 1st float. So, that kind of you're kind of just moving the hurdle, right? You're taking the hurdle from the beginning of coming in for the first time ever and just kind of stepping it back a little bit, but that hurdle still exists. So it's something that you should focus on and make sure that you're looking at that conversion period and seeing what the numbers are and seeing if you can encourage it to increase somehow.
I really liked, and it was Float House where I first saw this, and I think they're still doing the same pricing model. I'm not 100% sure, so I'll go check their website and we'll link over to their membership. But basically, it's they have their full price float, which is set at a reasonable amount for 90 minutes, and then the cost for 3 floats goes down from there to much lower. I think not quite half off, but getting there, and then their membership. Which is just the kind of model of 1 float a month, and then you can buy extra floats for that same price is even cheaper than the 3-pack. So like at every step, the decision to kind of engage in the extra floating behavior you want your customers to do makes sense financially. Like it's cheaper to get the 3-pack than just your 1 intro float. After you've done your intro 3-pack, it makes sense to get the membership if you want to keep floating. So I really like that direction. Like all of a sudden, if you switch that membership so it's more expensive than the 3-float intro pack, and I see that a ton in different float tank centers in their pricing model, that feels to me like you're selling yourself short. Like you're almost selling those 3 initial floats, but giving up a good chance to have pulled someone on for a much longer term commitment, just over a longer period of time. So definitely think about that. In my mind, memberships are the more important thing to try and sell and get out there. And it's also why we personally don't offer an intro 3-pack, is we just kind of offer a membership that has a 3-month commitment. That's right now, just one float per month.
And our pitch is usually that people can apply the amount they spent on a float towards a membership if they like. So if they float and they come out of their float and they enjoy it, we'll let them take that full price they just paid and just put it towards a membership and sign up for a membership if they want.
Which means their first month of the membership has technically been, free almost in that sense. And then the next month is, for us, what is that, like $23 off of just the next month of membership because they already paid that full price. So we kind of do that same pitch that you do for a 3-pack, just for a membership.
So, there's lots and lots of ways to do discounts and pricing, and even with something as simple as selling one thing afloat. Like it's amazing how many different things you can come up with. But most importantly, just be purposeful in what you're doing. Don't just create a discount because you see other people doing it and saying it works well. Like, use discounts to encourage the type of behavior that you want to encourage, and keep track of it. See if it's actually working.
Yeah.
See if your hunch is correct, or if you're just totally wrong about how you think people are reacting to, or how their behavior is affected by the discounts you're offering.
Yeah, and your intentions and what you want to happen really will affect what your ultimate policies are, and internally as well as customer facing. Like, there will be a certain amount of people who buy a 3-float intro pack. They floated once and they never use the other 2 floats. And so now you just have this account sitting there that has 2 floats and they might never get used. And if your goal is to just pull in extra revenue with your intro 3-pack, then great, kind of mission accomplished. You didn't have to take any of your actual float time. You got extra revenue out of a customer. You're set. But if your goal is to get people floating more regularly, and you're really hoping that intro 3-pack is that introduction towards giving them a more profound experience and getting them talking about it and wanting to come back more, maybe you implement a shop policy of checking in with those people. Like 2 months after someone bought an intro 3-pack, you just kind of go and run a report, see who hasn't redeemed them or hasn't even redeemed a second float, and send them an email or call them or something like that. And again, kind of what you want to accomplish will determine these other protocols that you put in place to get the most out of your 3-pack.
Cool.
So I think that's pretty good, considering that we don't actually know what we're talking about here.
There's some, those are some opinions that we just laid out.
And if you want to hear more of our opinions, go to floatanksolutions.com/opinions. That's not, no, don't go there. Go to /podcast.
And you can type in a question there. We'll see it. We'll answer it.
Yep, we'll judge it very harshly before answering it. Sometimes we'll change your words around if we didn't like how you phrased something. So
sometimes we'll just change your entire question.
Yeah, it's very liberal, very liberal. So if you hear a different question than yours, chances are that might still have been your question.
Like this question that we just answered started out about cartridge filters. So we just...
All right, bye everyone.
Have a good one.